Morning, everyone.
Good morning.
And I've got a good answer anyway.
You do. We are 2 minutes late and already a few people asking where are you, so you want it.
There's a few people there?
Yes. Yes.
Well, good morning to you all. All, it's only the one appearing as everything anyway. And don't forget that, that's the most important thing. We say the same thing over and over again, just so, it can be looked at, recalled, remembered, reminded, whatever, until the truth that's in the saying will be seen. You hear many quotes and many statements. You might hear them 100 times. And yeah, they sound all right. But then one day something will open up and you'll see through them. See them in a totally different light. One I heard years and years ago, very simple, that sounds pretty good, very nice. But then when it really opened up and saw the meaning of it, it totally changed everything. That was, I don't know where it came from, it was in a book somewhere, and who it belongs to. They just said it came from the Sanskrit. It was in Sanskrit apparently, but which text or who wrote it or they didn't seem to know. But the depth of it wasn't realised at the time. And what it was?
What did it say? Yeah.
What did it say?
Yeah.
Well, it says, mind is the master power that moulds and makes. And man is mind, and evermore he takes the tool of thought, and shaping what he wills, brings forth 1,000 joys, 1,000 ills. He thinks it's secret, and it comes to pass. Environment is only a looking glass.
Wow.
So the environment is like the mirror, which it is when it turns out to be so. Now, mind is the master power. Now, there is no such thing as mind, really. So it's that power we call mind, and it says man is mind. So that's all that we are. We are mind stuff. It's shaped and formed into the pattern of this human pattern of mind. And what's happened? The tool of thought. We take the tool of thought. What's the tool of thought? Well, that's what it is, thought. Words. How many words were you born with? You weren't born with any words, but we've learnt all that. Picked up these tools along the way. Now, if mind is the master power, and then that means that that master power is God. It's the only thing there is. There's no higher power, greater power. It's omni-power, total power. It's all mind. So all this manifestation is made up of thought, words, tools we use to fashion this manifestation. And when I say we are that power that's formed this pattern. What I call body, mind, person. It's all that one power. Mind power. And not mind as we know mind, because mind as we know it, is nothing but thinking.
Mm.
And there's no such thing as mind in that direction. But this one power, being the tool, using the tool of thoughts, diffuses patterns, shapes and forms, appears and expresses as everything. Everything is thought or word. And so we form our conceptual images about this, that and that. And it brings, as it says, 1,000 joys. It can be very happy, very pleasant when it's understood right, or 1,000 ills. All our suffering comes about from the way this tool, we use this tool of thought in our thinking.
Yes.
And so, and it comes to pass that environment, where we live, what we do and everything is only the mirror that we're appearing in.
Looking glass.
Reflecting surface in which the way we think and feel about it is what it is to us. And it's all our thoughts. Most of our thoughts are silent, quiet thoughts. They can be thoughts about turbulence, thoughts about fear, anxiety and all the stress. But these sensations, thoughts just sensation, vibration, movement of energy. And all these sensations we take to be real. And so suffer accordingly. And recognise that, what's wrong with right now, if you don't think about it. So it's all subtle thought. And what's my thought made up of? Words, sounds, vibration. This master power is nothing but thought, word, sound, vibration, energy that vibrates into patterns, bodies, minds, insects, birds, shapes and forms. And the meaning and concepts we put on them is that how they seemingly are to us. What happens if we see, as they say, this thing we call mind is the only power, you and I, that everything gets pattern shaped and formed with these tools of thoughts, is only that one power. Are we going to keep creating the fear, the anger, the stress, the guilt, the remorse by dividing it up? Instead of taking the master power to be the absolute, the totality, we've made it into a little me. Me, my power, my mind, my body. And isolated, seemingly isolated this seeming pattern from the totality. And that's made it open to suffering, to unhappiness, to fear, to anxiety, to stress, to guilt, to shame, remorse. Because now it's isolated, it's separated, seemingly so. It's alone. It's an individual, it's a person. And the tool of thought will dance all around it and try and make this seeming person into something, which it never was. It's always been that one power, pure, I call, using words which are not it at all, there's no word that is, intelligence, energy. Or you can call it God if you like. Or you can call it thought, feeling or emotion or whatever. But it's the master power. It's creating, fashioning, shaping, forming everything. And then from the pattern, shapes and forms, we as human pattern, shapes and forms take ourselves to be something, instead of being the totality, that master power, we're now an isolated, separate, individual person power. And we know that because the belief in that shows us, because we're all in believing in that person, it's all suffering. It's all fear, anxiety, stress, guilt, shame, envy, vibrating on the opposites. And the words we put on it are discriminating it. The words are sounds. Sounds are vibration. The vibration's a movement of energy. Isn't your breath energy? Isn't your heart beating energy? Isn't the blinking of your eyes, opening your mouth, letting the words come out, energy? It's all that energy, suffused with that innate intelligence or knowingness or power, if you like. The omnipotence, the total power, the absolute. That love, the joy, that is Mahavacuous. I am that. I am that master power with the tool of thought which is making, moulding everything. And because I don't realise or recognise my true nature, I'm breaking it up into the separation. And the suffering becomes seemingly real, and it is seemingly real because that power now, the tool of thought is seemingly giving it a sense of separation, an individualness, a personal. Stop it.
Stop it.
Have a look out there in nature and see how it's functioning. It's all just as it is. In its absoluteness and its totality, there's nothing wrong with it. In its separation, in its seeming division, there's everything wrong with it. Don't let it be that way. Mind. Call it mind, that is calling it God or the master power or the absolute or awareness or realisation. Mind, my mind, then. See what we've done. Not only taking that master power, breaking it down, but we've taken it to believe it's me or it's mine. But instead of being me or mind, me or mind is that. It's that. That is not me. I am that. So then I don't have to take on all this discrimination. all this fear, all this stress, all this guilt, remorse, anxiety. Can I negate the awareness in which these conscious forms appear on and in that awareness? If there is a staying or a recognising or a remembering or a recalling, whatever you like to put it, that it is that. That is all there is, and that is what I am. It's a tool of thought that has me thinking otherwise. I think that I am a separate entity, a person, and that thought is the liking, it's the disliking, it's a tool. That's all it is. Words we take to be real. All words are sound, concepts, vibration. And that energy of belief goes into it. What good are they? What can they do? And that's what happens. We do believe in the word because we've never questioned it. Nobody has ever told us. In other words, we're encouraged to learn more words, speak better language, learn more words, speak more words, describe, they're describing, they're formulating. But the word's never the thing. But if you've got the concept of what this thing is, using the tool of thought, you can maybe build it or draw it or photograph, make it, cook it, eat it, do all sorts of things with it. Left as it is, have a look and see. That thought that just came up in your mind, leave it as it is. Don't fixate on it, don't attach to it. Just be the hearing, the seeing, the tasting, touching, smelling. That's overlooking it, letting it be and listening to other things, focusing on something else rather than the thought. See how long it will stay there. See that it soon disappears, followed by another vibration or sound, which is another thought, another feeling, discriminated by this, the meaning that's in these words. We discriminate the thoughts and see it, leaving it as it is. We put the labels we believe about them on. And this one I like, this one I don't like, this is fear, this is stress, this is guilt, this is love, this is happiness, this is joy. All vibration, all words, all sound, all energy. Why not leave it as it is? Any questions there?
Yes. There is a question here from Armanath. Dear Bob, can you speak on mind is like space, untouched, also stationary and movement phases? Patterns of that, please.
Yeah. Well, as I said, mind is the label we put on the thinking and all the rest of it. But if it's the pure awareness, which we've put labels on, what is it? Awareness is like space.
Yeah.
Non-conceptual. It's vibrating as this manifestation. What was the rest of the question?
One moment. mind like space, untouched, also stationary and movement phases, patterns of that.
Yeah. Well, it's ways, movements, all the rest of it. It's a tool of thought when we use thoughts on it. That changes it.
Mm.
Yeah. You should look into this one, Amarnath, because you've got some good questions. You've got a good understanding of it. The mind is the master power that moulds and makes. In other words, the mind is the godliness, if you like to call it that. Man is mind. You and I and all these forms are formed by the tool of thought. Like everything else in the manifestation.
Yeah.
Thought is a tool that man that moulds and makes all these things.
I've got some more. Hi everyone. I've got some nice comments. Good morning messages and love messages and gratitude messages. Thank you for all of it. Bob will read them. Bill says, what a beautiful tonic to the universe. Gratitude from John David for keeping us together and making new friends. And Catherine says good morning also. And now here, Caroline Pixie Play. We are total, whole, absolute. Nothing can be added or taken away. Nothing can be added or taken away. All simply energy vibrations. No fear, only love. All is love.
Yes.
Don't feed it attention and it disperses into nothingness, space, peace. Beautiful. We are one energy, limitless. Never was, never will be. Laughing. This was a comment to something, but I'm not sure because this was a comment to something you were saying. Absolutely no thing. We are that, and that is that. And that is that.
Everything and the no thing.
Nothing to understand or know. No fixating. Let it all be focused on 5 senses. Totality, full stop.
The 5 senses wide open. So when you're not fixating on one to the exclusion of another, yes, that's...
Beautiful. Totality, full stop. And I am that master power. Nothing to get, one mind, poet power. Whose thoughts? That was an earlier comment from Caroline. Greetings from Richard. Good morning from Jane. Yeah, it kind of mixes them all up. And from Michael and Heyman. I want to cook the word macaroni for lunch.
Yeah.
Yes, that's the comments for now. It mixes it. Newest, maybe that will process. Endless, eternal gratefulness. And God, I love you, Bob. Ordinary nothingness, pure consciousness, nothing else. All simple energy vibrations.
Yes. Good that you're seeing and understanding that and recognising
Yes.
that is all there is. And you can't separate yourself from it.
And it's such a joy coming from your words, Caroline. It's such a nice, beautiful, light, joyous energy. It's yummy. Yeah, because it is a beautiful and joyous message. When you see that nothing is separate and apart, the universe is your own body. Everything happens within your consciousness, so it is part of you. It's you. It is you. And it is beautiful because when you see it this way, nothing is wrong. Even if there is a adversity or pain or darkness, you know they have to be there for the pleasure and the light and then the opposite of adversity to be there. Otherwise, there would be nothing. So the periods of discomfort are absolutely necessary for appreciation of comfort to be possible. So in the greater scheme of things, nothing's wrong.
No, it's all absolute. Can you separate the absolute? What would it be in? Could you take it out of the absolute? And cut it up into millions, myriads and myriads of things. But it's still only absolute totality.
Yes.
But when we put the concept, the tool of thought puts the concept on, this is separate and apart. See what we've done? We've opened this master power, which is has been formed this body to express through. Instead of seeing the body and the seeming thinking power that's in it as separate, see it as a totality. Where are you going to go? Where are you going to get what you're going to get?
Nowhere to go.
Nowhere.
Nothing to get.
Nothing can be added, nothing can be taken away. It brings forth 1,000 joys. Oh, when you split it up and divide it, 1,000 ills.
Yeah, that's a nice poem. Yeah, the simplicity of disregarding that power of belief in thinking, and suddenly just being with whatever is present, and not missing out on what is present by overlaying interpretation of it and giving meaning to it, calling it good or bad, or convenient or inconvenient, bringing up the future fears and the past traumas, and clouding out that simple, beautiful, shining reality with heavy weight of nonsense that is being just believed, because it once it's believed, it feels real, it feels relevant, but it's still just a bundle of beliefs.
Belief is just another word.
Yeah, I'm just checking if there are new comments. No. Oh, there is one from Brett. He says CLOUD, like spelling of the cloud. Why separate sun and shadow? SKY. Why separate the sky? Why is, in the spelling, this is how it looks like. In the spelling, you separate the letters and get something completely different. Yeah, why separate? New West. And of course, that spontaneous, natural labeling happens regardless, and we are innocent of having that habit, and seeing through the habit makes it another part of the joyous landscape. It doesn't bind anymore. When you see and hear beliefs even coming out of you or coming out from anyone else, but you know what they are, you don't have to die for them. You don't have to defend them. You don't have to impose them on others. You just see them for what they are, and then straight away they become fangless tigers. They can't bite you. They can't sting you. They just another formation of energy formed into a shape of a thought shape or image, mental image. And they live there for a moment like a cloud, and then they move on. Even the most convincing stories, that's all they are.
See, people, when you start looking in a different direction, looking along these lines, see the simplicity of this, where we're looking in the mind, using that tool of thought to try and find it, leads to another thought, another idea, another concept. You go on searching for years.
Yeah.
But bring it all back and realise you can't. Some of the things that are said there this morning with the questions, and that people are seeing it clearly.
Yes. Okay.
Instead of I've got to become something, or I haven't done this what is it? It's that thing or this searching, you know.
Mm.
I've got to do another 20 years of meditation or whatever to become something. But in the simplicity of right now, anyone who is unaware, anyone who is unconscious, anyone who is not happy to be, no matter how much misery has been going on up to this point, and because it's been going on and seems to be continuing day after day, it seems very real. But up to this point, you see it right now. What is wrong if I drop it all?
Mm.
Doesn't mean to say the body will heal instantly, or the mind or the concepts will go. But given a chance when it's not being added to, there's a chance of it all dropping off and leaving you in this pristine, uncaused, inseparable awareness. I can't find the words. And the words are not the thing anyway.
Mm.
The thatness of everything.
Now, Julia, Kat, can you speak more on fear of future and beliefs, please? Yeah, isn't it amazing that you can't be afraid of the past? You can only project that fear on something that is to come. And when you take up future and there's too many variables, it's totally unknown. You basically just terrify your own limbic system, your own survival instinct, because you can't know. Tomorrow may never come, and that's the fact. So it naturally comes with compromised survival instinct. So people who are obsessing about future and are honest about the fact that there is no guarantees will be living in fear. But recognizing that pattern can really just take away the sting of it. Because, yeah, we can anticipate future and look forward to something pleasurable. That's not completely honest, because we don't really know. The future is unknown. There is no future. Future is only in imagination. It's only in the thinking, in the mental images. So we can create pleasurable mental images. I mean, we are not creating them, of course. It's just a habit pattern if we are optimists that images will show up. But a little bit of an honesty, and we know that's just an imagination, because it is not happening right here, right now. And knowing that, it often goes with the anxiety, with the uncertainty, because yeah, it's not only if there is a future, if there is a believed in future, then by a rule that believed in future is not here now and it is unknown, and if it is unknown, it is potentially dangerous. In the immediacy, there is no future. In the no mind, in the reality, in the heart, there is no future. There is just this moment now, and it unfolds and it changes and it dances. But there is nothing to fear in that moment now. Even if I have autoimmune or a mortal disease and story about that body dying, which everybody will eventually go. In this moment now, there is nothing wrong unless I think, unless I imagine. So that future and beliefs, yeah, that's a nice one to contemplate, to see that every fear that we ever had and will ever have is about something that is not right here, right now, but something that perhaps even if the fear is about the current situation, it won't be contained in the situation. It will come with the idea that the situation won't improve or it will get worse. So it involves time, it involves future. It's like fear, the organic fear is when the dynamite takes off next to you and you just crawl. The instinct makes you protect your face or something. That's not really, it's just an organic impulse of the body. It doesn't even have to be called fear. But what we project and scare ourselves and die 1,000 deaths. You had this nice saying that face the death of, no, face the...
Do the thing you fear. And the death of fear is certain. Is that the one?
Yes, yes. That we are fearing things that have never come. I think that was Mark Twain also who said that he died 1,000 deaths of things that have never happened.
Yeah.
Or that 98% of those never happened. That's a good one to contemplate, to actually just dispel all our fears and see how little do we know and how much we habitually focus into that unknown and scare ourselves and scare that poor system, drive the chemicals in the body, the cortisol, the adrenaline, and just make ourselves sick through focusing on something that is completely out of hands and it's completely mental. Pixie says, bread beautiful, yes. And you have no idea how hard I looked for. Oh, I didn't actually see. Heyman was saying something which I didn't see. Heyman says, you have no idea how hard I've looked for a gift to bring you. Nothing seemed right. What's the point of bringing gold to the gold mine or water to the ocean? Everything I came up with was like taking spices to the Orient. It is not good giving my heart and my soul because you already have this. So I've brought you a mirror. Look at yourself and remember me. That's from Rumi.
Yeah.
Beautiful. That is beautiful. And Taz commented, that's bloody gorgeous. And thanks for that comment, otherwise the phone wouldn't actually, it didn't display it. And Bill, I like that. 1,000 joys and 1,000 griefs. Just let them be one. Yeah, there wouldn't be one without the other. They both have to coexist. They both kind of ingrain in each other.
Two ends of the same stick.
They absolutely necessary for each other's existence. And also, Bill, 1,000 joys and 1,000 griefs, just let them be one and not divided. One stick, yes. And Amarnath commenting on Julia's request on speaking on future, without taking consideration of past or I am the separate body as reference point, how can we think or anticipate? Duality creation is the cause of fear. Religion is created based on fear and beliefs, but underneath is the awareness. Yes, says Pixie. And Jane adds, false evidence appearing real. That's the anagram of fear. Time is also a concept.
Yes.
Absolutely. No time, Pixie says. Correct? No time, Jane. And Bill, 1,000 joys and 1,000 griefs have been divided. Bring them back to one. Yeah, neither can stand on its own. They only known from their opposites. Amarnath, dear Bob, can you speak on automatic function versus egoic function of mind, like unmanifested and manifested ones in Jnani, please? The division between automatic function versus egoic function.
Well, I call it automatic, I call it spontaneous, natural functioning. And the egoic functioning is, I have to do this, or I need to do this, or this is happening to me. Who's it happening to when you look into it? Concept. Who's the I that it's happening to? Who's the me? What's your next thought going to be? So you don't know. So won't it be spontaneous, natural?
Yeah.
Nothing either good or bad, but thinking makes it so. Thoughts arise.
And
The
also,
tool of thought, as I said in the thing,
yeah.
they're tools that come up to be used, utilised.
And also Amarnath says, function of the mind like unmanifested and manifested ones in Jnani, please. He wants you to talk about function, automatic function versus egoic function of mind, like unmanifested and manifested ones in Jnani. Yeah, it's hard to understand actually what is the request about. What's the unmanifested and manifested mind function? I don't know.
Well, anything in mind with thought, vibration, and movement of energy.
Yeah.
Even the Nani is a conceptual image you have about somebody that thinks superior to somebody else.
Yes. I think it's just the degree of the belief, because there is no one superior or no one inferior. But what you call jnani or jnani or jnani, whatever the
Knowledge.
way, yes, is really the degree in which the mind is automatically believed and taken to be real. Because that's all the difference, really. The mind operates as it operates in everybody in the same way, pairs of opposites. But is there identification of belief?
You know, it must be if you think there's somebody that can do something about it, it must be related to some seeming reference point.
Yes.
It's going to take it on board. But it's not.
No.
If it's the intelligence itself that's expressing, manifest, unmanifest, it's all appearance. Seemingly so.
Yeah. And I think we have an answer to it. Oh no, there's a few more. I have found myself repeating myself. That's Bill. No time like the present, Pixie. And Michael fears the unknown. Scientific experiments shows most people have less stress reaction if they know we are going to get a minor electric shock. 1/10 times. 1 of 10 times we touch the test rod. Then if they don't know whether they will get a shock or not, and they do not receive a shock, the craziness of the idea of being in control. Yeah, that's a nice observation. I think the same thing applies to rats. That if they were trained to know what they receive, what waits in one sort of a touching point, they will rather go to the known than the one that is random. The mighty illusion of control. Amazing. So it's a nice point, Michael. It's great. Yes, how we imagine. Even about the future, we imagine we know what is going to happen, and it gives us false sense of security. Or we imagine the worst case scenario, and it gives us the false sense of security. Either way, either coping strategy, how we deal with the fear of unknown, whether we have positive expectations, or are we getting ready for the worst and we are positively surprised. They are all coping strategies. But the real freedom is when you don't have to cope with what is not there. When you just stay open and future arrives, and when it arrives, then you cope with it. And of course, future never arrives. It's only the next moment unfolding. But you don't have to get prepared, have positive thinking, negative thinking, getting ready for the worst case scenario, or manifesting the best case scenario. None of that is any of your concerns, because all of that is living in your imagination, your daydream. Whilst instead you could really stay anchored in that subtle joy of being alive, being present, sensing that present aliveness, which is the source, which is the godliness, the love, the light, rather than, and then you anchor in that, and in any other unfolding, this one is the core, is the essence, this is the safety, the security, this is what never dies, regardless of what happens with the body.
And Julia says, thank you, Kat. The mind is still busy here, but there is awareness of that. And that's it. Yeah, of course. That mind does whatever it is designed to do. If there is a narrative, there is a narrative. If there is no narrative, there is no narrative. Who is there to prefer one over the other? If you understand that every organ is doing what it is designed to do, then you don't really struggle. You don't seek anything else. Like, there is no seeking for other states of mind or quietness of mind. No, it's just total peace with whichever way life presents itself, and the freedom in it. And you say you have it because there is awareness of that. That's all you need. Yeah, that's it. That's it. Because there are subtle promises around different circles of speaking when they say, no, you look, there should be no narrative, you have to look further or seek further. Just go into that seeking mode again and be suffering individual who wants to get something that is not there, something else in this moment now. Yeah, that's that's not the case. There's nothing wrong, whatever. Amarnath says, thanks a million, Kat and Bob. Unmanifested one is pure awareness, and patterns are manifested ones. Jnani is the knowledge, not a person. Yeah, that's, yeah.
But you can't divide the manifested and the unmanifested. The two ends of the same stick.
That's right, yeah. Like form and emptiness, two ends of the same stick. Vibration and silence, movement and stillness, sound and silence, or light and darkness.
No use pointless trying to grasp it with some concept.
Yeah, but he just reiterated what you were saying, and that's in a very simple words. That's good.
He's got to grasp it.
Yeah, he does. And a good way of extracting also what we were rumbling, and he just put it in a nice one-liners, which is beautiful. And Jane says, no time in the present. Absolutely, yeah, that's the freedom from time, freedom from becoming, freedom from future, past, everything.
No time, full stop.
Yeah. No time anywhere, yeah. No time in present. Amarnath is replying to Jane, no present, past or future. There is only one presence. When presence takes consideration of Lam, I am the body, becomes present, and from present comes past and future. Yeah, that's how it seems to. That's how it appears. When there is that pure unmanifested consciousness entering the solid matter, and in between appears to be something semi-solid, like the individual and ego is not solid, and it's not, it's something that appears to be there in between the solidity and the unmanifested. And if that one is solidified with belief, it assumes all sorts of limitation, and it becomes, and it creates itself a realm to exist, because it is only thought and believed into existence. It creates imaginary realm of existence, and that's time. It only exists in time. It only exists in past and future. In the present, where is it? Can never be found. In the past and future, it can only be imagined and believed. That's the seeming individuality. And isn't that amazing? Because when you see it, you fully appreciate it, you don't even want to kill it, you just love it. And that's how it becomes harmless. That's how it becomes what it is. How it is rediscovered or realized or remembered for what it is. It's just an image, just a smoke. And Michael says to Jane, hey Jane, what is present? What is the present? Is a clock. Many thanks for satsang. Chetan says, well said. Jane says, and happy birthday for last week for you, Bob. From Michael.
Thank you.
And maybe it was for Jane. Jane had a birthday last week also. And Bob didn't have his bodily birthday, that was another birthday. That was 61 years of sobriety birthday. And Jane had a bodily birthday. If you can, it's a celebration of the form, why not? You can celebrate absolutely everything because it is the manifestation of that brilliance, omnipotence. And Brett says, morning, Bob and Kat. Rainy in Perth this morning as I sit listening to the motif of clouds are dominating my being. Clouds have gone. Did the wind invite them away? They are the sky, Or are they mind or sight or thought? You decide. And when you do, speak your truth. Tell the cloud. Do you think they'll care? Wow. This is so beautiful. Delicious. It really, yum. Wonderful. Yeah, publish it. I'll be buying copies. Definitely. Amarnath. Simplicity of presence awareness is so simple that we make it complex by thinking.
Yeah.
that's how it happens. Yeah. Complexity comes through the movement of attention. Wherever you focus your attention, that attention is that life-giving energy. Suddenly everything comes alive under that light of attention. It's almost as if, you look into whatever it is, bacteria or virus or ocean or sky, and you supply that animating force and it creates more and more and more and more forms. It's beautiful. Thank you, Bob. I look forward to my Sunday session. So much love. Enjoy lockdown. Thank you. And Brett Kenneth Gibson, I'm here too. Let's connect. Yes, that's for now with the comments.
It shuts me down.
But it joyously doesn't it?
Yeah.
You got a big smile on your face.
Stop talking and thinking, there's nothing you'll not be able to know. That life will continue to express just as it is, pure life.
And if the talking and thinking happens, give credit where credit is due. You're not doing it. The body does it. You're not the body. When the talking and thinking happens, you are the background. You are the consciousness or the awareness in which the bodily talking and thinking happens. If you stop taking credit for this, for the activity of the mind, for the content of the mind, for the behavior of the body, you're free. It's just the act of identifying with the content of consciousness that creates the limitation. If I'm identified as a body, obviously I'm here and not there, and I'm vulnerable. But if I'm not, the body happens within me, just like every other form happens within me, and I am the awareness of all of it. If you sit more straight, you'll get the fresh new. Yeah. Maybe you could give us I got a comment. Amarnath, Bob, though my kids I love, but at the same time all kids in the universe are mine. Only I express same love, affection, gifts as same as my children. Your comments, please. Though my kids I love, but at the same time, all kids in the universe are mine. Only I express same love, affection, gifts as same as my children. Your comments, please. I would imagine, because it's not very clear, but I would imagine what you mean, Amarnath, is that you have particular affection and you have the wiring in the body to look after your children, and you don't look in the same way and you don't care in the same way for other children. For example, children of the horses or children of mosquitoes, they also children, but your body is not wired to look after them. This is like the whole system is already pre-programmed for certain functions. If you recognize that other children, other people's children, or other animals, other species children are also within you, but still the body will be only drawn to certain food and certain behaviors because that's the limitation of the body. There's nothing wrong. You would not want to expect of yourself to take away what your kids have, because there may be kids in Ghana somewhere that have less. That's contrived. That's not natural. Animals don't do that.
It's all the one essence, and it'll come up spontaneously, what to do or what not to do.
Yeah, absolutely. If it happens that you do take away from your kids, it will also be life.
What did Khalil Gibran say? Your children are not your children. They're just life longing for itself, expressing it.
Yeah, they coming through you.
Still the one.
Still the one. Yeah, it is very noble when someone sacrifices their life, and even when they really take away from themselves and help others. That inspiration is also life expressing. It's just the overthinking that makes it makes a story of it. We have a comment from Joe. I had pain for 48 hours. The thoughts were so strong, I had no power to stop it. Can you speak on that?
Now, of course, you haven't got any power to stop it. You haven't got any power for the thoughts to come up, but we believe we have.
Yeah.
And the sensation of pain was there, which it will be. Like if you stick a pin in yourself and you don't pull it out, it's going to be painful, it's going to hurt.
Yeah.
But who's it happening to?
And who is trying to stop it? It is only the recognition. If you know that you have the tendency to beat yourself up with the story, with the thought of finding faults in others and beat yourself up because of that, you understand that this is the pattern of behavior of the body. So it is happening with the body, but is it really happening with you or to you?
Take the tool of thought away. If you're not thinking about it, what can you say about it?
Yeah. But what she says, she couldn't stop thinking about it. I remember Julia sometimes quotes that little story that she understands what you say, that, oh, what's wrong with right now if I don't think about it, but I can stop thinking about it. And then you ask her, who's thinking about it? And she just burst out laughing. The recognition that whatever the mind does, the mind may be obsessing that this guy is at fault, he shouldn't be doing this, or he should be doing what I tell him to do, or I should be doing, whatever the shoulds are. That is the obsession of the mind. And that is already pre-programmed. You probably saw the same sort of thoughts, maybe different characters, but the same sort of behavior 30, 40, 50 years ago. It's just a program, it's not you. So you just look at the program and laugh, because laughter is the best exorcism is the recognition. You didn't start the thought, you can't stop the thought, but you may recognize it to be just a thought and laugh, because you don't believe it then. If you see, it's just a thought, that's not reality. Oh, this guy doesn't like me. Yeah, okay. Oh, I don't like him. That's not the reality. That's not the description of reality. That's just a thought. If that thought was spoken in the sexy, sensual voice or in foreign language, that wouldn't have any impact. So you see that thought and the content of the thought. It's just another vibration.
So what power has a thought got?
Yeah, only the one that you give it.
Yeah. Only the continued belief. I can't stop it. It's powerful, it's hurting.
Yeah, but this is always, thank you for bringing it up, it's always a good point to run a reminder that yes, you're totally powerless over your own thinking, your obsessions. You can't start it, you can't stop it. You can't even really change it. Let's say instead of having hateful thoughts, now I'll be having loving thoughts. Those ideas, even if they inspire sometimes, the idea comes and the idea is followed through. You didn't start them. Even that is out of your hands. So seeing through that powerlessness of the mind, seeing the mind and its activity as the activity within yourself, within the awareness. It takes the sting out of the mind, and sometimes not immediately. You said you had it for 48 hours. Sorry, that was a lot of suffering for 48 hours. Sorry, and a lot of cortisol in the body, I assume. That's too bad. But recognition is the only hope. Keep looking beyond the mind, beyond the thinking, what's true, beyond that stream of thinking, because I know that all you ever want is to wake up from the nightmare of believing your mind. When the obsession is profound and strong, that's your invitation and that's your chance. The more profound and the more pushing and pressing the suffering, the more pushing and pressing need for investigation to look beyond it and see the thought for what it is.
Look beyond. What's next? Step over that one.
Yeah.
What's next?
But of course, in the moment of that very, very strong fanatical belief, when the fanaticism comes and I forget that this is not true, they're not after me or whatever, it is just an idea. But at this moment, when I really believe it, I become me, I become a person, and there is a danger, there is whatever it is. And nothing can be done about it. It's just
years of reinforcing the thoughts and conceptions. It's hard to break the habit.
Yeah.
But it can be broken.
And also, funny enough, I heard it a few times, and I've established it, and it was 100% my case and 100% Bob's case. When that last profound, strong desire to wake up is present and is taking all of the mind. Not that, I have the desire for him to change, and I have desire to get the promotion, and I have desire to get perhaps a new dress. And yes, I want to wake up. Oh no, I want to wake up more than this and that and the other. But I also have, my attention is scattered among hundreds of little things that I constantly want and desire. The energy is really not single-pointed in that longing of the heart. It's I don't know how it is with others, but in Bob's case and in my case, that was just the last long, strong desire. Nothing else mattered in the world. Being right, who cares if he is wrong? Who cares? Really, put all of your eggs in one basket, like Nisargadatta was saying. All your heart into this, all your earnestness into this. Okay, let him be right. Doesn't matter. Or let him be wrong. Doesn't matter. If you really want to see through it and nothing else, you will. That's it. I mean, and there is no you who will. The consciousness will, because the one who desires and the one who longs is also the consciousness.
In the saying, it doesn't matter, realise what you're saying. It doesn't matter, you haven't allowed it to concretise, you haven't allowed it to solidify.
Yes.
Mm.
Yeah, but thank you for bringing it. Can you give some practical tips on stepping away from mind? That's from Michael. Practical tips.
Just don't go there.
Just don't go there.
Have a look at mind. Can you find a thing called mind? When you say my mind, is there such a thing near apart from a thought? So if mind is thought, which particular thought are you? Are you the I thought? Well, that I thought's not there when you're asleep or out of it, but you're still alive.
Mm-hmm.
And what is thought? To investigate thought, break it all down. Thought is sound. What's sound? Word is sound. What's sound is a vibration. What's vibration? The movement of energy. So take the meaning out of it, take the sounds and the meaning of it, just to see it as vibration or a movement of energy. And it's lost all the conceptual ideas about it.
Beautiful.
What is it then?
Beautiful. What a beautiful practical tip. Just take a meaning out of it. Just see it as a vibration. See perhaps the echo of the thought in the body, how it vibrates. And then see the whole sound of the narrative. It's just how it vibrates. Beautiful practical tip. Another practical tip, because those are all means of investigations, a way of investigation. Who is it happening to?
Yeah.
See if there is anyone on the receiving end. You will find nothing because there isn't anyone there. And if there is no one there to receive it, it just kind of dissipates. Another one, include the present moment, 5 senses. Just instead of obsessing in the mind, in the thought, just listening to that narrative, hear the background also. We have the heater going right now. I can hear that heater all the time, starting, stopping. It is part of the landscape and the traffic. When you hear a few things, that narrative will only get a tiny stream of attention. Other things will get, and other things are present sensations. Same with the sensations in the body, same with the scenery, what you see, what you smell, what you taste. All of it, if that's included, the present sensation, that takes you beyond the mind straight away.
You're not focusing on one particular thing. You're open to everything.
Yeah. Even the vision, just get a little bit more kind of peripheral vision, inclusive, without focusing on objects. What other tips? What's wrong with right now if I don't think about it? Yeah, just focusing on that right now without thinking, without even dispersing attention in the sensory field, but just checking with the curiosity.
Always, who's it happening to?
Yes.
Always happening to me. Who's me? Me is another word. What's it represent? Represents it's believed in person, this mask, this conceptual image. Am I a person? Am I a mask? Am I a word? No.
No.
What am I? What's left? Well, I can't negate my beingness, so I am life. And all these things, if it wasn't for life, couldn't pattern, shape and form. Life lives on life. Life comes out of life.
Yes.
It's ever fresh, ever new.
And we have a couple of more.
Not a past life, not a future life. It's pure, everyday, spontaneous, vibrating energy right now.
We've got Tass. It's really good to be here, always and in all ways hear. Thank you, Bob. I hear the call. What a gift it is to truly investigate. And now Joe says, I realize in hindsight that I was resisting the pain also, which made it worse. Ah, that's a great realization.
Yes.
That's a good insight. Amarnath says, thank you. It is really good to be here, Taz. Jane replying to Taz. It certainly is a gift to truly investigate and watch truth eliminate the lie of duality. Beautiful. Yeah, beautifully said. Eliminate the lie of duality. Amarnath. Haha, Bob thanks. There is no me and mine. And Joe says, thank you. Yes, I did laugh now. Wonderful. And Richard, if one examines the appearance of phenomena with reason, nothing is ultimately found. That unfoundability is the true nature of things, the Dharmata. And this is Vajranaya Master from Bengal, from 9 Pieces of Zen. Thank you, Richard. And Amarnath, put your full heart with earnestness. Thanks for this, Kat. Don't go there. Log in to the mind, Bob. Look beyond. Bob gave best mantra for me today. Not for repetition, but simply aware of awareness only. Look beyond. Yeah, that's a nice one. And Amarnath, interpretation and judgment are not at all needed for awareness because they are projections from awareness. Focusing on source of focus. Yes?
Focusing on what?
On the source of focus. Like putting the attention on the attention itself. Yes, that's a nice one. Me is just a word, illusion, mask. He's quoting you, Bob. Can you give some practical tips? This was Michael. Sally is replying to Michael. I was in strong identification and then realized, oh, I think this voice is me. It kind of broke the spell. That is beautiful. That is wonderful. Yeah, that's what often happens. We hear that narrative from early childhood and we think that this is either our best friend or our soul speaking to us. And that voice is often a nasty, judgmental bastard that is bringing us down. And of course, the intention behind is to make us stronger, to make us better, to care for us, to not let us fall for the traps. But it is an automatic function and it's not who we are. It's just a voice, not who we are. Beautiful, Sally, to actually realize it, just even without being pointed. That breaks the spell. So nice to know. Resistance equal mind, Amarnath says.
Resistance is what?
Equals mind.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's it for now. Yeah, I was gonna ask you to just run through maybe again, how is the identification happening when the child is born and learns words? You wanna give us a reminder?
Oh. It's the learning of words where the separation comes about. The little child hasn't got any words, but for the first couple of years, and so you can see he's functioning, getting along all right. He hasn't got the capacity of feeding himself at that stage or doing a lot of things, but parents are looking after him. He knows how to bring their attention to him by making sounds. But not until he learns words with the capacity of reasoning, which is learning words can be very useful, as you know.
Yeah.
That's when the capacity of reasoning starts with the learning of words. He learns the word I. Parents tell you little Johnny, and you read the reason I am little Johnny. Because you've learnt words like I am as well. Now you've got a pattern that you can relate to. And that brings about with it the sense of separation. Instead of being the total, now you are this separate entity, this person, this individual. I am little Johnny. And with that sense of separation, naturally comes insecurity. Up until that, everything is just as it is. Sensations can come up with this, that and the other, and be thoughts, feelings and emotions will come up. But now with the sense of separation, it's happening to me. It's me that's fearful. It's me that's anxious. It's me that's unhappy. You look out there, if you don't know what that is out there, then naturally you're insecure and vulnerable about it. And that's when the search starts. Because me doesn't like this, it doesn't want that. It wants to become whole or complete. Not recognising it's still whole, it's still complete, it's still just part of the functioning intelligence energy. Now it feels separate. And that's when the duality comes into it, and from then on, instead of looking to become whole and secure, parents don't tell it that. They tell you to acquire, to amass, to gather around, to add to yourself whatever you can. It'll make you feel better, it'll make you more. So we're trying to add to what's already full. You can't add anything to a full cup.
No.
It needs to pour something out, get rid of it, and relax. But we keep doing that, and so the sensations become stronger and worse. The fear, the guilt, the shame and the unhappiness, as they say, like Joe was saying, they build up and last for hours, days and weeks. We continue to beat ourselves up. Instead of saying, hang on a minute, who's this happening to? Well, naturally, you can only bring down it's happening to me. And that gives you an opportunity to have a look at this believed in me and see if there is such a thing as me or I. It's happening to me or I. Now, what's this me or I that's happening to? Can I find a centre to it? Can I find a static point in this body anywhere where this me begins? If it was something separate, it'd have a beginning somewhere. But it doesn't have any beginning to it. I can't remember my birth. I can't remember any beginning to it, or how I begin. Not realising at that stage, they're formed out of the essence of the food of your father and the mother, a couple of little microscopic particles. You weren't that human pattern, but that formed out of the energy of the food essence, those two patterns coming together, the sperm and the ovum, the food essence within the body, and formed this little embryo, this little fetus that you call I or me. But is there such a thing as I or me? If I don't say I, do I fall apart? Do I stop seeing? Do I stop hearing? Even though I'm saying do I stop, do I hear? I was relating to the I, but they're still seeing, they're still hearing, they're still tasting, touching, smelling, without being related to any reference point. And the reference point is the I or the me, seemingly where it started.
Yeah.
And if it started, if that's when you think you began, we'll realise you didn't begin until you were about 2.5 when you learnt words like I. Without the word, you were functioning spontaneously, naturally, and effortlessly. And the situations were handled. Like I'd start crying or have some fear or hurt or something would come up in the body, hunger or something like that. You're not labelling it hunger or something, but you'll make the noise or do what you thought, what seemingly was appropriate until that was satisfied and got rid of it that way.
And it's still happening the same way to this day.
Yeah.
Only on top of whatever's happening, we take credit.
Yes.
And we think we do it.
We do it, yeah. And we think whether this me has become the personal, the mask, the conceptual image in which we hide our true nature, which is spontaneous, natural, breathing, hearing, tasting, touching, smelling, heart beating, vibrating, all spontaneously happening, and appears, and it's forming this pattern which we call the body-mind, and that seems to be real. But investigate that also. See how solid it is. And realise when you look into it, it's transient. It's not the same body you had a moment ago. Not the same body it's right now, it's changing. Cells are being replaced, food's being digested. So realise all there is this transient, spontaneous functioning, happening, occurring, which has no solidity to it or no static nature to it whatsoever. All a vibration. And as it split itself up from the absolute, if there's nothing separate, as it divided, though the mind is dividing, the concepts are dividing, good, bad, past, future, is there such a thing as day without night? Or silence without sound, good without bad, pleasant without painfulness? Without we put the label on to divide them, they can't be separated. So why continue to label and separate when you see that? You don't. You leave everything as it is.
Yeah.
And what is means it's actuality in this moment, which is changing anyway. Unaltered, unmodified, uncorrected. No preference, no partiality, no comparison. None of those words you can add on to it, leave it as it is. And it remains so. But that doesn't mean to say it's going to be static and stop there, leaving it, because in the remaining so, it's constantly transient. It's constantly changing. It changes of itself. But what do we do when we're related to the me? I don't like it. We keep it there. Keep it there and anchor it there. I've got this pain, I've got this fear. And it hangs around a lot longer than it should do naturally. It hangs around and we beat ourselves up with it and become very painful, hurtful, or anxious or fearful. All the psychological labels we put on things come about because of keeping that believed in false entity, giving it some credence as having some reality.
And blaming it and shaming it and expecting from it and being disappointed with it and all that emotional suffering. While the same thing happens when we were babies and there was a need that needed to be addressed, and then the baby would just make a scream. Today, the body would also make a scream. Write a petition or call the boss for the promotion. The body does the scream. But it can happen in exactly the same way as it happened with the baby, without much of a story going on about it. whatever needs done, you can see how the body looks after itself. Body needs a toilet, it walks to the toilet. Body needs food, it walks for the food. Body needs training, it goes to the school. It does what it does. It's just the idea that there is a me who is responsible, guilty, who should, who shouldn't. That one causes suffering. That one is unnecessary. You can see how the body does everything it always did without any entity needed to overlook it or to... the entity is totally imagined. It's like you have never ever done a thing. And you never will do a thing, you as an entity. And everything happens. Body does, mind does, they all do what they were designed to do. And the life can be unfolding in that effortless way without the suffering associated with taking credit, shame, guilt, remorse, expectations and imaginations. That is effortless, simple living. I think Bill says, dear Bob and Kat, here isn't any more to be said, but thank you. And Brett, what a wonderful clarity Bob possesses today. His brilliance has broken through the darkness overhead and illuminated the invisible visible. Bless you, young Bob. What a gorgeous words. Ah.
Bless you too.
Yes.
But Bob has never done anything, and neither of you. It's just
No, yeah, the Bob doesn't possess the clarity, but the life has expressing wonderful clarity through Bob, and the brilliance broken through the darkness.
And the recognition is coming through, the beautiful recognition.
Yeah, you're the mirror, absolutely. Mm-hmm. And now we have King and Queen, Bob and Kat shining. Thank you. Amarnath calls us King and Queen, Kat and Bob shining.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yes, that was very good, what you just said.
As blazing sun with coolness of moon. And thanks a million. Hyman says bye. Story, mind minus cat. Sweet. Wow, so beautiful. Thank you, Bob and Kat. We have thank you messages, and I can smell that bread I'm baking, beautiful gluten-free buckwheat bread, is kind of having enough. So I think it's a time to say goodbye to everyone and have a wonderful Sunday or Saturday, if that's Saturday where you are.
Yeah.
And thank you for being with us, making the lockdown easier. Not that it was hard, but
That is working in its fullness
it is working.
through each and every one of you.
It is
Couldn't do otherwise.
the doing, the source of doing, the omnipotence.
Love you.
Love you all. Thank you.